this episode, we're going to be talking about not a movie, but kind of a TV show, I guess. So we're talking about a brand new thing that just came out, I don't know, a month ago, maybe 2 months ago. And if you haven't done so yet, I strongly suggest that you guys, especially if you're horror fans, I mean, if you're listening to this, unless you're just a Mark or Shanon fan, I guess maybe that's why you're listening to this show. But I would assume you're a horror fan.
Oh, yeah. We got a lot of fans.
So you can go out and check out Shudder.com, and it's essentially like a network or a Netflix type of streaming service, but it's only horror. So they have a lot of they actually have a lot of really cool movies out there, but like Netflix and Amazon Prime and Hulu and all these things too, they're kind of getting into the original content game as of late. And one of the things that they came out with, and I'm not sure if this is supposed to be like an ongoing series, because it is pretty short, but they have a documentary on there called Primal Screen. And when I first started looking at it, when you first suggested it to me, that's what I thought it was, because it is really short. The one episode that is on there anyway, it's only like 28 minutes long or something. So at first I was like, so is this supposed to be a series? And if you do some digging online, there's a couple of things that say that it is going to be a series, but then I can't find anything definitive that says it is a series or not.
Well, it is, I believe, the third documentary from this director. The first two that he did, the first one was Room 237, which was the Shining documentary. It's kind of like a conspiracy documentary. The second one you can still watch on Netflix right now. It's called The Nightmare, which I haven't seen the whole thing, but it's about sleep paralysis, if you're familiar with that, which is a condition that it's hard to explain. Basically, the theory is, well, a lot of people experience this where they kind of like wake up. It's like their brain wakes up before their body wakes up, and they're like in kind of halfway between asleep and awake, and they can't move and they can't talk. And then during this sleep state, there's like these crazy kind of dark shadows and scary stuff that people see. It's like nobody knows if it's hallucinations or what it is, but it's really, really creepy stuff. But that one, that's still on Netflix, The Nightmare. And this is that director's third documentary, Primal Screen, which is an interesting concept, because I thought it was going to be right up our alley when I read about this.
Like I said, it's really short. It's less than a half an hour long. When you first get into it, and I knew nothing about it going into it, so I really didn't know what it was about, except for the picture that they have on the Shudder site for it is like a little boy sitting in front of a TV with like snow on it. I didn't really know what it was going to be about. And then you start the show, and I suppose that we probably should say spoiler alert. I mean, even though there's really not much of a plot to it, it isn't like a documentary kind of thing, but it's really short, so we're probably going to end up touching on a lot of it during this episode.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Just if you want to check it out before we go any further, go ahead and hit pause and sign up for Shudder if you're not already signed up for Shudder, and check it out. It opens up with this voiceover guy talking about how he was really getting into ventriloquism when he was a kid, and he thought that dummies were cool and all this stuff. And then pretty much goes into how he was a little kid in the 70s, and the TV spot for the movie Magic would come on to TV. Then there was another guy that came on to the voiceover talking about how when he was a kid and the TV spot for Magic would come on, it would freak him out. And so it's a really interesting topic for this type of documentary, even though it's really short, because really what it turns out to be is it's a documentary based on the TV spot for Magic, which if you've never seen Magic, it is a pretty good movie. I mean, it's a really early Anthony Hopkins movie. But the premise of Magic is he's this like failing like magician, but then he gets this, he develops this ventriloquism act, and then his career kind of starts to take off. And then it's we've talked about with Chucky and some other stuff in the previous episodes before. But he has this this dummy who is essentially possessed or whatever you want to call it. But they don't really get into the movie in this little short documentary. They're just talking about this TV spot, which is, again, is really kind of an interesting topic for a documentary. But I mean, overall, I thought it was actually pretty enjoyable.
Yeah, it's like the premise of this is that those images that we saw when we were little and how they have such an imprint on our minds, and like how, these guys, well, when they were kids, they remembered TV spot for Magic coming up, and they had the dummy talking and, his eyes moving and all of this. And it just kind of like had such a lasting impression on their young minds, and how that really stuck with them is just absolutely terrifying. And it's kind of funny because I remember I saw Magic probably in like junior high school, something like that, down the road. But again, for some reason the topic always comes up with my mother. She introduced me to Magic, so I guess I got to give my mom kudos for she's really the one who got me into horror movies. So, but she actually had the novel on her, like we had a bookshelf in the basement, and I remember the novel being there, and on the cover, all it had was a butcher knife and then the word Magic on it. And I remember like, that's interesting. And then asking her, well, what's this about? And then she told me about the whole storyline about the ventriloquist dummy and all that. And I thought that was pretty cool. So in my mind, like I have my own thoughts of what I remember of that. This movie, this specific documentary kind of reminded me of when I was 4th or 5th grade. There was this show called Saturday Nightmares, and it was on every Saturday on the USA Network back in like the mid to late 80s. They would play a horror movie, and they would play Alfred Hitchcock Presents, and they'd play The Hitchhiker. But they would also throw in these little short films that were like maybe 5-10 minutes long just to fill in time because of the commercials. One of them was called The Dummy, and it's actually on YouTube. You can find it. And took a long time for that one to be put on YouTube, but I finally did rewatch it. But for the longest time, that like I remembered it, and I remember as a kid just being absolutely horrified of that movie, that little short film. So this like kind of like idea that as a kid you're watching these images on TV and you don't fully understand what you're looking at, and you don't know your brain's not fully developed, and you're sitting there watching this, and how it has this imprinted thing on your brain. It's like was right up my alley. I thought that would be great for us to talk about this. Actually, all of the short horror films that were on that USA Networks all kind of stuck with me one way or another for some reason. And there was another one called Panic about a woman who picks up a hitchhiker, and the hitchhiker's like looks like an old lady, but it's probably a man dressed up, and they never really let you know. That was creepy. And I think it's like these things you see on TV when you're so young and your mind is impressionable. So it was really those shorts on USA Network were like that for me.
After I got done watching this, I was trying to think if there was anything for me, whether it was on TV or not, that I was, still kind of creeped me out after all these years. And I think the couple of things which it's not really quite the same as this one, but I've talked about it before on here, was there is the scene in Hellraiser from, that I remember from when I was whatever, teenager or before, but when they're carrying the mattress up the stairs and the guy catches the back of his hand on the nail sticking out of the wall.
Oh, yeah.
Gives me creeps just thinking about it.
That always gets you, doesn't it?
The other thing that would be remotely similar to this, possibly, is in, I don't remember if it's in Porky's or Porky's 2, But there's the scene where they take the snake and they put it into the sewer pipes, and then they have that one like mean teacher lady is like sitting down on the toilet, and she's doing her business, and then a snake comes up through the toilet.
I've never seen it. I'll have to check that out.
But yeah, I mean, that kind of gives me. There's still to this day. There's especially if we're like away from home, like at a public place or something like that, and going to the bathroom, and you're like, is there gonna be snakes coming out of here?
Right.
But yeah, other than that, I can't really think of anything else that.
No, that's funny.
But I think part of that comes from the guys that were in this. They were 10 years old or whatever when the Magic trailers were on TV, which Magic came out in the late 70s. So they are older than us. So I think probably part of that actually falls into what we've talked about before. I mean, honestly, by the time we were that age, we were probably a little bit desensitized to a lot of the stuff.
That could be.
I mean, when you're creeped out by a trailer of a ventriloquist doll on TV, I mean, hell, when we were 10 years old, there was trailers for Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street and all this other stuff on TV. I don't think that really creeped us out. I mean, I know it did some people, of course, but...
Yeah, the only thing that comes to mind for me, like I said, was that dummy movie short that really stuck with me. Really left an imprint on my mind. And I even remember, like, knowing that something was very, like, nightmarish about it. And I didn't understand what it was. And then when I went back and watched it as an adult, it was like the soundtrack they use is very... Like, it just like the soundtrack was very real off and just kind of eerie. And I remembered, like, watching that as a kid and, like, holy crap, this is really scary. And it just really stuck in my head. Another thing interesting, too, is, like, in this documentary, they show, like, the clippings, like the if you grab a newspaper and you go to the Showtime scene, section, and they show what movies are playing, they have these little pictures like of the poster art of the movies in black and white and a newspaper print, and they show like the Magic one with the dummy on it. And I remember, I don't know if you did this, but I used to, like, every Sunday, I think it was, we would get the Chicago Tribune, like the big giant thick newspaper, and they would have the entertainment section, and I would just scour through that, and I'd cut out all the horror movie posters that were in there, and I had like a big collection of those for a while.
I did that same exact thing.
Did you?
Yep.
That's cool. Yeah, because I hadn't thought about that. I totally forgot about that they did that until, like, I saw this documentary, and I was like, oh crap, I used to have, like, I know I had like the Halloween 4 one, I had Howling 3, I had Friday the 13th Part 7, Part 8. So I must have been doing it.
I remember too, like, not a lot of times with horror movies, but usually it was a picture of, black and white picture of the movie poster.
Yes.
But sometimes, usually it was like a little like 2x3 kind of thing or whatever. But every once in a while you get lucky and there'd be like a half a page or something really big, like a whole page. You're like, oh, that's awesome.
Right. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. You would get like most of the time it was just like and then as the weeks went on, the movie would, like, the picture would get smaller and smaller and smaller. But, like, yeah, if it was like a pretty big movie, it could be like the full page, and then it was like, holy crap.
Yeah, I remember having a bunch of those for probably Friday the 13th, like Part 7 and 8. And then I remember, I don't remember if it was Halloween 4 or Halloween 5. But I remember I had a whole bunch of them that were like, because there was like different ones, like it was like a little bit different.
Okay.
So because I don't remember which one it was for. It might have been for Part 5, but I do remember having, I don't know why, because I was a weirdo, but I actually had like a frame, and in that frame I had like 4 or 5 of them for like Part 4 or 5, whichever one it was, and I had it like on my like dresser or something in my room for a long time.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, those were pretty cool. Those were I don't know. I don't remember what I did with them. I probably taped them up on the wall or something. But I had like a crap load of those.
Yeah, now I mean, anymore, you just go online and you can find all that stuff. And I mean, can't really do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could print it off if you really wanted to.
But yeah, that you'd see that poster art for the first time in the newspaper, and you're like, oh, cool. And then, you knew what the video cover box was going to look like, and I think I had a Pumpkinhead one too. I remember that. The late '80s is like when I was doing that, so it was all those late '80s horror movies I was grabbing.
Because even back then, I mean, even though we had the 3 theater in our town, there wasn't really the big multiplexes anywhere to where you would go and, they have the poster hanging in the hallway, a year before the movie ever comes out. And like, oh yeah, cool. Yeah, you never saw that before. Because, I mean, the only movie posters we ever saw at the movie theater when we were kids was the movies that were playing that week.
Yeah, you're right. They didn't do that like whole teaser posters or whatever.
Or now where they have the, you go into like some of these big multiplexes and they have the giant displays right in the lobby.
Yeah, right. Oh, that was cool.
I wonder what they do with all that stuff. Because even this theater here that we have here in town, I mean, it's only a little 3 screen theater, but we're friends with the guy that runs the place, and every once in a while, you can ask him, like, hey, anybody asked for that poster yet? Oh, no, I can set it aside for you if you want it. Cool. I wonder if some of those big multiplexes and stuff, anybody's in there like, hey, can I get that giant Lego Batman thing?
Cool.
I mean, what would you do with that? Put that in you'd have to have like whatever, big cathedral ceilings in your entryway to put one of those up.
Right. Yeah, very cool.
Or, like collectors like you, and they probably have like all like laid out in their basement on the floor, like all flattened out.
Right. I had a Star Wars cardboard thing of the when they released the or the final release of the original trilogy on VHS before they altered them. So this was like in '96, and I had this big, like, it's the boxes where it's got like Darth Vader's head on one of them, Yoda on the other, and a stormtrooper on the other. It's like a big cardboard thing that you put together of, like, I think the Darth Vader one. It's like what you would have seen like at a store that sells videotapes back then, like a Suncoast Video or something, and like to advertise that the trilogy was coming back on VHS one last time or whatever. Yeah, but I don't think I have that anymore though. No, it's gone.
I had a Darth Vader stand-up cardboard cutout that actually we ended up throwing away like just a couple of months ago because it had been in the basement forever and it got wet a couple of times.
Oh, really?
So it was all like crumpled up and stuff, and I don't remember where that came from. I had a Phantom Menace poster too for the longest time, like, and then eventually I ended up just throwing. It got tore or something, but I was like, I hate that movie anyway. So
I had a poster of that too, the one with the Anakin and then like the Darth Vader shadow behind him.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think mine was like the one with all their heads or something on it.
Okay.
But yeah, on here, this one article I was reading that the documentary series Primal Screen, but I don't know if they're going to be making future ones or not. Maybe they will. Maybe there will be another one for like when the Halloween trailer was on TV. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm trying to think what else they could do.
But it was like I said, it was an interesting concept, though. I mean, it's kind of funny that when you think about it, and these guys are talking about this one thing, and I'm sure there's probably other people that were out there watching this and like, oh yeah, I remember when that trailer came on, it was creepy.
Oh yeah, I can't think of any trailer that really stuck with me like that. Like something like, from from my childhood. I'm the only thing that, like, when you asked me, I think the only thing was that dummy TV short or movie, that little short film. But yeah, not a specific TV spot or anything that really. I think I remember the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 TV spot was kind of interesting, and it was real short, and it was like, it didn't like stick with me or like anything, but it was one of those that kind of left somewhat of an impression, I think. I thought that was kind of cool too, where like they have the thing where they reenact like his dad sitting next to him, and the dad would always kind of like egg him on, like, oh, there it is, it's here, hey, look, you know. But you know, it's kind of funny because my son, when he was younger, my youngest, that movie Dead Silence came out, and this was back in the Blockbuster video days, and they had like a whole wall of nothing but Dead Silence DVDs, and he used to have to cover his eyes when he walked past that. That had such an impact on him because he was terrified of ventriloquist dummies. So I bet you, and actually it's kind of funny. I watched Primal Screen with him. We watched it together. I thought it kind of neat because he was so freaked out about ventriloquist dummies when he was younger. So he was kind of laughing at it, but I think he was really scared. He just didn't want to tell me he was.
Yeah, so like I said, if you haven't done so yet, go check out Shudder. It's pretty cool. I got it.
It is cool,
and I think I'm going to keep it for a while. We'll see.
It's only $4.99.
Yeah, it's real cheap. That's the other thing too. I mean, it's not. I mean, you know, it's not like Netflix to where there's different genres on there or anything. I mean, it's all strictly horror, but hey, that's cool with me.
Heck yeah.